Our first tipping point tonight, the Justice Department has found the mysteriously missing text messages that were sent between top FBI officials who were having an affair at the time. Just days ago, we were told by the FBI that these text messages had been lost due to a so-called technical glitch. Coincidentally, the missing messages were sent between the critical dates of December of 2016 and May of 2017, from right before President Trump's inauguration to right after the appointment of Robert Mueller as special counsel. So we've got three things here that are all intertwined. We've got Hillary Clinton's email investigation. We've got a classified memo from the House Intelligence Committee that reportedly, according to a congressman we talked to on this show, contains proof that Obama justice officials misrepresented the infamous and widely debunked Trump dossier, which was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. They misrepresented that to a FISA court judge in order to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign officials. And now we have this load of text messages sent between top FBI officials who were virulently anti-Trump. Not just anti-Trump in opinion, but the contents of these text messages give us reason to believe that their bias might have extended into their actions, that they abused their positions of power to let Hillary Clinton off the hook and to target President Trump, which, if true, is a scandal unlike anything we've seen since perhaps Watergate. And then we've got this FBI agent who ties this all together. His name is Peter Strzok. He was the #2 counterintelligence agent at the FBI before he was chosen for special counsel Robert Mueller's team. Strzok was then fired from Mueller's team because he sent text messages to his mistress, who was an attorney for the FBI. The text messages he sent to her were so anti-Trump that Mueller felt Strzok couldn't be objective in the investigation. So Mueller fired him. Kind of hard to follow, right? Well, it gets better. The reason Peter Strzok is the knot that ties all of this together is Strzok was the lead man on the Hillary Clinton investigation. He interviewed Hillary Clinton herself, Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and Strzok was the man who interviewed General Mike Flynn. When the Department of Justice charged Mike Flynn with lying to the FBI, it was because Flynn lied to Peter Strzok. But it gets even better. During the Hillary Clinton investigation, we now know this because of the text messages Strzok sent to his mistress. Strzok knew Hillary Clinton would never be charged with a crime. Well, how did he know that? Before the investigation was even completed. Strzok and his mistress texted about how the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, knew that no charges would be brought against Hillary and how there was pressure to wrap up the investigation into Hillary and exonerate her almost the day Donald Trump became Republican nominee. Strange, right? It almost sounds like there was a conspiracy to protect Hillary Clinton from being held accountable to the law. And perhaps there was. Then we have the memo from the House Intelligence Committee that reportedly contains more proof that Justice Department officials under Barack Obama were biased against Donald Trump. Now, I'm not talking about just voting for Hillary Clinton. I'm talking about actively abusing their power to violate the rights of Trump's campaign officials in order to try to take Trump down. That's why so many Republicans have been calling it a coup to take Trump down. That's certainly what it sounds like. Finally, the FBI revealed this week that the rest of the text messages sent between Peter Strzok and his mistress, Lisa Page, had mysteriously disappeared. After we were told about messages referencing a secret society to take down Trump, an insurance policy to make sure Trump wasn't elected, the evidence of a crooked investigation into Hillary, and Strzok admitting that he didn't think there was any there in the Russia-Trump collusion allegations, suddenly the remaining text messages between these two individuals went missing. Now that's a little bit more than a strange coincidence, is it not? Well, today, suddenly the FBI found these text messages. Joining me now to break this down, retired CIA operations officer and national security consultant, Sam Faddis. Sam, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Liz.
All right, Sam, this is a lot of information for people to untangle. It's a lot of different individual scandals or individual pots that I believe are all tied together here. When the Department of Justice told us that they lost these text messages, did they think that we were going to fall for that?
Yeah, I suspect they did, and I think that's exactly how arrogant they are, that they thought they were simply going to give you that response, I think actually in a text message itself, and then everybody was going to go away. Was completely non-credible on its face. That's why it's fallen apart as quickly as it has. I mean, anybody who's ever done forensic work on computer systems, emails, and so forth knows that all copies of messages don't suddenly mysteriously vanish into thin air. It doesn't work that way.
No, just ask Hillary Clinton. She knows that better than anyone else. Now, in regards to some of the contents of these text messages, There's some, I guess, skepticism today. There's a narrative that's being perpetrated today that's saying that the text message about a secret society against Trump that reportedly met after Trump's election here, that text message was meant in jest. Sam, do you take that text message to be a jest, or do you take that seriously?
Well, I don't know if that specific text message was meant to be taken seriously or not, but I think it is indisputable that there is a broad-based, if you will, conspiracy to destabilize this president, which ought to terrify you, everybody, regardless of how you feel about Donald Trump. This is the way republics fall. When people stop paying attention to election results and decide they can now take the law into their own hands, use any methods they wish, and literally destabilize and try to take down a sitting president instead of taking the matter back to the polls the way it's supposed to be handled.
And you believe that the text messages that we've seen, the behavior by Special Counsel Mueller and those who worked under him, is that proof, in your opinion, that is what is happening right now in our country?
I think there's absolutely no question about that. I think the election of Donald Trump stunned a huge number of individuals, many of them in what I will call the establishment, and infuriated them. And they have decided that rather than attempt to defeat him in 2020, that they are literally going to take matters into their own hands, prevent him from governing, and if they can, remove him from office. Again, that ought to terrify every American wherever you are in the public on the opinion scale. Wherever you stand politically, that ought to terrify you that that's where we are now, that we are not respecting election results, we're not respecting our institutions, we're going to tear down the presidency for partisan reasons.
Right, and I would feel the same way if this type of conspiracy had been aimed at President Obama, who I agreed with on nothing ideologically. I would be similarly terrified that we didn't respect the results of a Democratic election, as it seems people in our government are doing now towards President Trump. So that's bucket number one, the FBI text. Bucket number two, I guess, is this memo, this classified memo right now from the House Intelligence Committee. The contents of this memo, we don't know for a fact. There's, of course, been leaks about what it was. We had a congressman on this show who said that it wasn't inaccurate to say that there was proof in this memo proving that Department of Justice officials misrepresented that dossier, the Trump dossier, to a FISA court judge in order to obtain that warrant. Well, this ties into the FBI text here, but when we get down to it, who is the one to blame? Who set this in motion? Who planted this seed? Who is responsible for this? Because you and I sit here and we talk about, this conspiracy by the left, meaning, this vague group of people. Who are the individuals behind this?
Right. Well, clearly there are people on the left that are involved here, but I think we ought to understand that the election of Donald Trump threatens the establishment across the board. It is a fundamental change politically on a scale that I don't think people fully grasp yet. So there are people all across the spectrum who really do not want him to succeed and are willing to tear him down using effectively any means at their disposal. This entire Russian conspiracy thing, whatever it is, I still can't even articulate exactly what he's been accused of, is a fiction. There is nothing there. It is a smear campaign. It is straight out of the old Soviet Union.
Right, and we can see evidence of that too, just in the fact that just in the past 2 days, there have been so-called leaks that Robert Mueller, the special counsel, wants to interview Trump himself. There's a reason that narrative was started right now. There's a reason that narrative was started in tandem with this information about the FBI text messages and about this classified memo. There's a reason, and that should make anybody question the veracity and the good faith, whether this investigation is of good faith, because it wouldn't happen so coincidentally at the time that there was damaging information about the Democrats if the investigation itself wasn't inherently political.
100% correct. That's exactly what this is. This is not an apolitical, by-the-book investigation being run by impartial entities. This is a political witch hunt, and it has one goal: to destabilize the president and, if possible, topple him. Not because he's broken the law, because people do not agree with him politically. And when we go down this road and stop settling these matters at the ballot box, then we're going down the same road the Roman Republic went down 2,000 years ago. At the end of this road is the destruction of your institutions.
Right, and it's absolutely chilling to hear this. I mean, from you specifically, because you were part of this. You were part of this intelligence community. You were part of this group of the same people who are actively trying to take Trump down. So it's not someone sitting on the outside saying, oh, this is what I believe is happening. You were there. You know how this works. This is what you see happening. It is terrifying. That's the correct word for it. Sam, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, you have 1 minute to tweet me at Liz_Wheeler. Before we're back with Kayleigh McEnany, feminist groups across the whole country are claiming that President Trump is bad for women. He's a misogynist, they said, a sexist. But in fact, if you look at the numbers, guess who has perhaps benefited the most during this first year of Trump's presidency? That's right, women. We'll show you the numbers so you can call out feminists too in just a moment.